Picture this. It's 1969, and Ford is on top of the NASCAR world. 11 straight wins. David Pearson dominating. The Talladega unstoppable. Then Dodge rolls out the Charger Daytona at the end of the season and blows Ford's doors off. Plymouth follows with the Superbird for 1970, and suddenly, Ford's reign is over. Just like that. So Ford does what Ford does best when cornered. They call in a legend. Larry Shinoda, the man who designed the Boss 302 Mustang and the iconic split-window Corvette, gets a simple mission: build a 200-mile-per-hour weapon that can destroy the Daytona and Superbird. No pressure, Larry. The result? The 1970 Ford Torino King Cobra, a radical nose-first reimagining of the Torino with aerodynamics so extreme it looked like a spaceship designed to hunt birds. And hunt it did. 200 miles per hour in testing, easily. Problem solved, right? Wrong, because this is Detroit, where corporate politics and NASCAR rule changes conspire to kill dreams. The King Cobra never raced a single lap. Ford built 3 prototypes, and somehow, all 3 survived. Today, they're worth more than $500,000 each. This is the story of the fastest Ford that never was, and why sometimes being too good is exactly the problem. Ford dominated NASCAR from 1963 through 1969, 7 straight manufacturers' championships. For 1969, the Talladega won 11 races in a row by mid-season. Ford was untouchable. Then Dodge unveiled the Charger Daytona in September 1969. Pointed nose cone, 23-inch rear wing, and 200 miles per hour. The first NASCAR stock car to break that barrier. Ford's win streak? Dead. The Daytona won its debut and 5 of the final 6 races. Plymouth followed with the Superbird for 1970. So fast it lured Richard Petty back after just 1 season with Ford. Chrysler now had 2 winged warriors, and Ford's beautiful new 1970 Torino was aerodynamically terrible. Wind tunnel testing confirmed it. The deep grille trapped air like a parachute. The concave rear window created dangerous lift. Ford Racing Director Jacques Passino knew what was coming. Total Chrysler domination in 1970. Ford needed a miracle, or at least someone who could design one. Enter Larry Shinoda, legendary automotive designer and certified badass. The 1963 Corvette Stingray split window? Shinoda. The Boss 302 Mustang? Shinoda. The man knew how to make cars that looked fast and went faster. Shinoda assembled an all-star team. Jacques Passino, Ed Hall, Bill Shannon, Dick Petit. The mission was brutally simple: build a car that can beat the Daytona and Superbird at 200 miles per hour. No compromises, no excuses, just speed. And here's where Shinoda goes nuclear. The Daytona and Superbird both used bolt-on Aero parts, separate nose cones grafted onto existing bodies. Shinoda said, "That's amateur hour. We're redesigning the entire front end." From the firewall forward, the King Cobra was completely new. A radically sloped hood dove dramatically toward a slim chrome bumper that would sit mere inches above the ground in NASCAR configuration. The front end extended the Torino's length by more than half a foot. Aerodynamic perfection sculpted in steel and fiberglass. The headlights? Tucked into deep, sugar scoop cutouts in the front fenders, similar to a Datsun 240Z sports car. For racing, teams could install covers over the headlights to make the nose even slicker. Every detail obsessed over for maximum speed. But Shinoda wasn't done. Unlike the Daytona's tiny grille opening that caused overheating problems, Shinoda added a large, bottom breather grille opening below the front bumper. Similar to modern performance cars, air could flow freely to cool that big Ford V8. Brilliant. The hood featured a blacked-out center section. Side stripes ran from the front fender to the quarter panel. King Cobra fender decals completed the look. It was aggressive, purposeful, and unmistakably a weapon built for one thing: destroying Mopar on the NASCAR circuit. Ford built 3 prototypes in just a few months. Each got a different 429 cubic inch V8 engine. The first, a Boss 429, the same semi-Hemi V8 from the Boss 429 Mustang, race-tuned to 700 horsepower. 700 horsepower in 1969 on bias ply tires. Ford was insane, and we loved them for it. The second prototype got a 429 Super Cobra jet, Ford's high-output big block monster. The third received a 429 Cobra jet. All three were mated to heavy-duty transmissions and NASCAR-spec suspension. These weren't show cars. These were race-ready weapons. Testing time. Ford sent the prototypes to Daytona for high-speed evaluation. The goal? 200 miles per hour. The result? The King Cobra hit 200 miles per hour, easily. Mission accomplished, or so they thought. Wrong. Because physics is a cruel mistress. That beautiful sloped nose created about 200 pounds of downforce at the front, planting the King Cobra to the pavement like glue. Fantastic. Except, Shinoda had skipped adding a rear wing. The Torino kept its stock fastback with no spoiler at all. The result? The concave rear window created a vacuum that caused dangerous lift at the rear. Front glued to the track, rear trying to take flight. Literally. Cale Yarborough, legendary NASCAR driver, tested a Boss 429-powered King Cobra. Yarborough said the car felt like two different machines fighting each other at 200 miles per hour. Unpredictable handling in the turns, rear tires spinning along the entire length of the straights. Too much front grip, not enough rear stability. The King Cobra was fast and terrifying. Shinoda and his team knew the fix. Add a Daytona-style wing or a tall rear spoiler. They were weeks away from solving it. Then everything exploded. And this is where the entire project blows up. Suddenly, violently, and for reasons that have nothing to do with engineering. In September 1969, right as the King Cobra was being refined, Ford president Bunkie Knudsen was fired. Knudsen was a racing fanatic who'd hired Shinoda specifically to build performance cars. His replacement? Lee Iacocca, who didn't give a damn about NASCAR. Iacocca's first move? Slash Ford's racing budget by 75%. 75! Ford's entire total performance program, dead. Factory racing support, gone. Larry Shinoda? Fired days after Knudsen. Corporate politics just murdered Ford's 200 miles per hour weapon. But wait, it gets worse. NASCAR President Bill France had watched the King Cobra hit 200 miles per hour at Daytona. He'd seen the Aero war escalating. Speeds were getting dangerous. Tires couldn't handle it. France decided, enough. For 1970, NASCAR changed the homologation rules from 500 street cars to one car for every 2 dealerships in America. For Ford, that meant approximately 3,000 King Cobras, at a cost of $2 million. Chrysler had barely sold 500 Daytonas. Plymouth dealers were literally removing Superbird wings just to move them off the lot. 3,000 King Cobras? Financial suicide. Then for 1971, NASCAR dropped the final hammer. Any car with Aero modifications could only run a 305 cubic inch engine. The Aero warriors were banned, forever. The King Cobra project was officially dead before it ever raced a single lap. The 3 prototypes sat abandoned at Ford's Dearborn headquarters, forgotten relics of a war that never happened. Then, in 1971, NASCAR team owner Bud Moore stopped by to pick up some Mustangs. He spotted the King Cobras gathering dust and asked, "What do you want for those?" Ford's answer, $1,200 for both. Moore bought 2 prototypes for the price of a used Pinto. The third was sold separately. All 3 survived, miraculously, because Bud Moore saw value where Ford saw trash. Today, those 3 King Cobra prototypes are worth a fortune. The Boss 429 example sold at Mecum Auctions in 2019 for $192,500. Another sold in 2016 for $525,000. From $1,200 to $500,000, that's what rarity does. The King Cobra remains one of the greatest what-ifs in NASCAR history. Could it have beaten the Superbird in Daytona? We'll never know, because Ford built a 200-mile-per-hour weapon so good that corporate politics and NASCAR rule changes killed it before it ever competed. The King Cobra didn't fail, it was stopped. If you enjoyed this story of Ford's forgotten Aero warrior, hit that subscribe button, because next week we're diving into the Cadillac Eldorado 500, GM's $10,000 land yacht with a 500 cubic inch V8 that was supposed to compete with Rolls-Royce but ended up competing with gas stations. Front-wheel drive insanity, 8-mile-per-gallon reality, and the most expensive Cadillac failure you've never heard of. This is Car Chronicles, where every car has a story worth telling.